Ladies and gentlemen, CNN has settled. CNN has settled its lawsuit with Nick Sandmann, settles defamation lawsuit in Covington Catholic High School controversy. CNN on Tuesday settled the defamation lawsuit filed by Covington Catholic High School student Nick Sandmann over its botched coverage of a viral confrontation with a Native American elder that had portrayed the Kentucky teen as the aggressor. Fox 19 first reported that CNN settled with Sandmann for an undisclosed amount. The $250 million defamation suit sought damages for the emotional distress Nicholas and his family suffered in the fallout of the network's reporting. This is very, very interesting. CNN obviously knew it was going to lose the case because they routinely publish information and news stories that are not accurate, and then they say they stand by their reporting. And in this case, you're talking about a person who is a minor who was not the aggressor, who was made to be an aggressor, made to be a belligerent, only because of the Juicy Schmolier network coverage that tries to paint every single, negative story as being influenced by Trump. But let's continue. Fox 19 first reported that CNN settled with Sandmann for an undisclosed amount. The $250 million defamation suit sought damages for the emotional distress Nicholas and his family suffered in the fallout of the network's reporting. So, a lawyer for Sandmann declined to comment on the settlement, but confirmed to Fox News the lawsuit against the Washington Post and NBC were ongoing. Fox 19 also reported Sandmann's attorney, L. Lynn Wood, told the judge they plan to sue media company Garnett, the publisher of the Cincinnati Enquirer, among other newspapers, within 60 days. Garnett did not immediately comment either. Wow. Nick Sandmann, yes, we settled with CNN. Yeah. So he fought the system and won. And this is, look, you're talking about who, this is all, you always have to fight back. And it's not just, you fight back against bullies. Yeah, of course, but you always have to fight back. If somebody tries to take advantage of you, somebody tries to lie, spread news about you that's not true, if the media tries to distort, and what this young man did, and his parents and his family, they fought a very corrupt system. They won. They fought a corrupt system. The media, CNN, and others thought that they could simply utilize this young gentleman as a pawn. And at the end of the day, it was a very costly decision. I don't know how much of the $250 million they settled for, but I'm hoping it's over $10 million. Hoping it's over 10 or 20 million, something like that. Last March, Sandmann's attorney launched their suit against CNN for its coverage of the incident before all the facts had surfaced. The teen was seeking a whopping $800 million in damages between the three news outlets. Wow. Washington Post rips CNN for its faulty reporting on Steele dossier, demands network come clean. CNN has become an insidious extension of the DNC and Democratic Party, which is why this young man was basically targeted by news outlets. I want to thank everyone for the many good wishes received today. Now, Ellen Wynn and I turn our attention to NBC News and Washington Post. So now they're after the Washington Post and NBC News. Additional defendants to be named soon. So what they did was, this person was completely and utterly innocent. He had nothing to do with any bigotry, negative emotion, nothing. He was wearing a MAGA hat, and media looked at that and they said, oh my God, this is the rise of a new bigoted young America who is seduced by Trump's words. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. And They deliberately, because what CNN does is they'll deliberately, with intent, with a nefarious motive, they'll deliberately spin things to give you only part of the truth. And a lie by omission, I mean, you might as well not, if you're only given part of a story, in this case, this man simply standing, then you're not given the story, you're given somebody's altered, warped reality. They did this to harm Trump. They didn't care whether it would harm an innocent person. They did not care. They did it only to harm the president. They can't touch the president, and thank God this young man and his family fought back. Sandman was swept up in a controversy after a video clip depicting a MAGA hat-wearing student smiling at Nathan Phillips beating a drum and singing a chant as he was surrounded by Sandman's peers, who all had joined in a chant in front of the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Now, this is the same media, by the way, that was silent during Standing Rock. President Obama was silent as Native Americans were brutalized. Democrats, media, liberals said nothing. Okay? Here you have a situation where a person was standing, and because he was standing, the way they edited or the way they showed the clip, they tried to make it seem that he had, been belligerent in some manner. The guy was simply standing there. Mainstream media outlets, including CNN, portrayed the incident with Sandman and other teams. Okay, so they tried to spin as being racially charged before it was discovered that other groups there had provoked confrontations. Neither CNN or NBC commented, as a Post spokesperson previously said, "While we do not accept the characterization and contentions regarding our reporting of the incident at the Lincoln Memorial, we have taken steps to address the concerns expressed to us." So, look. That story cost them hopefully more than 10, 20 million. You can't get away with this. There was no benefit for CNN other than bolstering Trump supporters or people or just independents or anyone who has critical thinking skills. They went after a person they thought was defenseless. See, that's what CNN and MSNBC, well, I should say CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times and other subsidiary publications, they go after people they think won't fight back. They go after people they think, won't be a thorn in their side. This was a $10 to $30 million, I'm just estimating, a $10 to $30 million costly decision. Very costly decision. And this was simply clear cut. What they did was wrong. What CNN did was wrong. That's it. That's it. There was no gray area or there were no question marks. What they did to Nick Sandman was horrendous. They tried to ruin his life. They tried to ruin his life. They tried to use him to get to Trump. You're talking about, these are people who, they don't care if they ruin lives. They don't care if they harm people. What if, God forbid, with all the negative, and you had Hollywood celebrities going after this human being, this young man. You had people trying to show off and make a name for themselves and threaten this teenager. You had people who You had people who tried to intimidate and denigrate and mock and disparage and harm. There were physical threats also, but verbally. Nick Sandmann, and instead of what if God forbid? Because a lot of young people in America wouldn't be able to take the onslaught. What if, God forbid, he decided to do something, tragic? Okay, he didn't, and he fought back, and he won. His parents won. His family won. CNN lost. You're talking David versus Goliath here. But, I mean, if you're voting for Trump, if you're on Trump's side, you're on the side of right, generally speaking. Not always. Trump's not right about everything. But you're on the side of justice in most cases. You don't run to news stories like this. Your critical thinking skills, I should say, are more evolved than just people who devote their lives to going after Trump. The Juicy Smollett story is also, yes, in 20 degrees below zero, Trump supporters went and attacked it. No. Then they find out it was a complete hoax. We can go on forever. I mean, you're talking about a media that spent 3 years saying that Trump worked with Russia to buy Facebook ads. So, I mean, they were capable of literally anything. And this is not the only look. They have done this to a great many people. They did this to Michael Flynn, to George Papadopoulos. They did this to. They tried to do this to Trump. They do it to Trump every day. What they do is media. They're like piranha. They're like sharks with chum in it, like great white sharks. And what they'll do is they'll converge. And if they find a juicy story, they will, and if it has to do with Trump and his, their version that he's like this bigoted monster, they will spin and paint the narrative that, there was a study that said that, people commit more hate crimes after Trump rallies. No, that's been debunked. That never happened. It doesn't happen. People like Trump because his policies work. 5 million Americans have been lifted out of poverty. The poverty rate is decreased. There's record low Black and Latino unemployment, record low unemployment nationally. And the same people are like, oh my God, look what Trump's doing in Iran. Well, yeah. And compare that to what President Obama did in Libya. Night and day. In a year after he gets reelected and defeats Clinton again, because Clinton's going to be the nominee, he'll actually sign a deal with Iran, and then they'll say, well, you know what, it wasn't a good deal, it's a photo op. Give me your thoughts below. This is a really, really wonderful moment in American history. A young man and his family fought back against a media giant and won. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.